Hi everyone, welcome to the talk today. I thought I would start with actually a student project, possibly the only one I really showed today.
Hi, I'm Momo.
And I'm Andrew. We are very different.
Despite our differences, we have one thing in common. We both moved to Denmark and we can't pronounce anything. Kvestus.
We're not the only ones.
Toldbodgade.
Lille Strandestræde.
Nyhaven.
Nivalen?
So, we made a plan.
Rosenborggade, Møntergade, Rådhusstræde, Møntergade, Rosenborggade.
Together.
I thought it was in case you fall asleep in my talk, this was the essence. That the teaching at CIID is very much about crafting. Don't wait too long before you move from an idea to a prototype. Craft with your hands, craft with technology, and especially bring the prototype into the context where people can actually try out and see. And this was, I think, a one-week project where students were actually asked to learn electronics. It wasn't even about finding a solution. So I thought also after 8 years in Denmark, my Danish is still very bad, so I like to think of solutions that will improve all the life for foreigners. But today my talk is about incubating design-led talent of tomorrow. And there are two sections. First, I talk a little bit about the program in itself, the school, which is in a way the incubation for what I will talk about after, which is the CIID Nest, a new platform we have launched this year in February at CIID, which is a people-centered incubator. So basically the school serves as an incubator to the actual incubator. For those who don't know, I guess most of you about CIID, we are here in Copenhagen, quite central. CIID is not just a school, but we also run research, consulting, and again the incubator. And today I focus mostly on the education and incubator. My dream is that the whole CIID becomes a big incubator, people-centered incubator in the future, so that projects, ideas, concepts coming from consulting, research, all flow in this platform where projects are taken to the next level. And today the topic is future design and innovation in the digital age. I thought I would still show a project which is quite outdated now for CIID. It's from 3 years ago for Toyota, where we try to imagine a kind of disruptive innovation in the automotive industry. What if the car was a vehicle to learn and not just a vehicle to move from A to B? And when you think that in the automotive industry, most of the passion, R&D, engineering is put into the driving position, into the dashboard, into the power of the engine, thinking of how you can make the journey actually a better journey by thinking of the life of your kids in the back was quite disruptive. And this project actually created back in Japan a platform within Toyota, which is now called Window to the World, which is all about unfolding innovation starting from the back of the car. So that's the overall approach. And as for the school, we have been around since 2008 with the school, so only 6 years so far, and we have enrolled 128 students from 38 countries, and we have about 525 projects published on our website, and our website is the only tool for marketing, the only one we use for the school. So today I only showed one or maybe two, but feel free to browse through all the portfolio. It's quite inspiring, I think. And 2 years ago, Business Insider, a business magazine in the US, made a list of the best 25 design schools in the world based on employability of their students. So they did a survey with people who employ designers, asking where they find the best designers. And we're very, very proud that CIID and, of course, Copenhagen is on that map, together with gigantic institutional education, such as Carnegie Mellon, MIT, and so on. So, and I see some of the students here, so it's great to see. CIID and the program, the school has been supported from the very beginning by the Minister of Business here in Denmark and Novo Nordisk. And then throughout the year, we have found the business model where different sponsorship from companies from Denmark and outside Denmark are actually sustaining the course. And the students are also paying a fee to attend for the full year. It's just 1 year long, the class, very intensive. They come from many different countries, as I said, and what I thought could be also interesting to reflect upon today, the question is like, how do you train them and what do you do? Actually, when we reflect about it, it's not that we do anything really special. We make sure they're all in the same room for 1 year, and they get to know each other really well, and this is called studio culture way of teaching. In a world where complexity is just increasing, solutions have to be more and more articulated to solve complex problems. Knowing how to work with other cultures is crucial. So the moment you leave Denmark, the moment you leave your office, you need to face totally new realities, mindsets, people think in a different way, work in a different way. So we actually see after a few years that the school becomes a place where these students coming from different parts of the world, they learn how to work together, not just in terms of design skills and technical skills, but also respecting each other's mindset, building on each other's differences. And that's quite crucial when they go out and start performing in a global enterprise or even in a small design studio, because, of course, everyone is now in touch with the world. It's not just about your own little office. And that was an unexpected part of the curriculum. Who are they? They come from different backgrounds, and in a very, very simplified version of the word, we can split them into two major categories. Creative thinkers, who come mostly from design, architecture, arts, and technical thinkers, people who bring an understanding of more systematic ways of thinking, from engineering to mathematics, physics, and so on. Altogether, they spend 1 year learning many different things, working on projects which are all multidisciplinary. And what comes out of it at the end of the year, I can't even think of them almost as individuals anymore, but they are like cross-disciplinary design practitioners who work in teams. These people are depending on each other, and the more and more we see after 6 years that they come to the school with the intention of learning something from themselves, but also of becoming part of a bigger network. So they know what they know, and they know they can rely on someone next door they just work with that could provide different expertise that they don't have. So this idea of working in teams, I think it's also quite interesting from the industry. And I was, Grundfos mentioned before the idea of hiring teams. I think that's a totally new way of facing innovation also in terms of who to hire. People need to know how to work together and they need to perform together. So the hiring system can also move from being individual-based to be more performance-based or team-based. And in that kind of teamwork, a key role we see more and more is played by people that often we call creative technologists. People who come in with a strong background in technology, and they use their skills and their knowledge to actually facilitate the design process, both through prototyping, but also in contaminating the creativity process with their technical understanding of things and of materials. And those roles we find out more and more are like really key to pull out the innovation process. About the people who are applying, and again, I'm saying this also, these people are the people that can be hired in the future. In 6 years, we have enrolled 126 students, and out of 564 applications, so 1 every 5th, I'm not really good at maths here, Jorn, you have to help me, but I think it's 1 every 5th that we select, actually. 25 of our applicants already have a master's degree, so they're already quite talented and already have an experience. 80% of our applicants have work experience before, so they come to the school as an upgrade of their education. And then when people apply to the school, we actually ask them, what do you want to teach, or what can you bring to the school? What is the skill or the knowledge that you can share with the others? And most importantly, going back also to the recruiting process also for companies and design consultancy, we don't select the best individuals who apply to the school, but we try to compose the best team, which is a completely different approach to creating our force and our thinkers in the room. So sometimes we drop applications where the candidate's absolutely exceptional, but it doesn't seem to be inclined to work with other people, or the group we're thinking of is not balanced enough, and we need to choose in between other solutions. So we balance the background, the culture, and the gender, of course. Most of our alumni are employed, meaning 2 people are now in between jobs, so they don't have an employment. 50% go off and work with big industries or design consulting, but the other 50%, we see more and more this number actually increasing. They want to start their own ventures. They're founders of their own company, and they don't see this as like the thing they will do for the rest of their life. They really like to see and try this phase in their life. And 30 people actually stayed in Denmark, which I think is a great news. About the faculty, we don't have full-time faculty. Actually, we don't believe so much in the way of... we believe in teaching on demand. So having a school which is reactive to society, industry, and any kind of news that you see in the morning when you open the newspaper. So our teachers are hired as freelancers to come and teach for a very short, intensive time. Some of them come from industry, some of them come from academia. And 25 of them, out of 95, are actually founders of their own business. And they come to work with the students. They don't come to... They're really attracted by being in the room with them. And actually, when we ask them to come, we don't really tell them exactly how to teach. We leave space for some experimental areas so that they can also feel engaged in the learning process. And actually, most of them come teaching modules that they can master, let's say, 80%, and the rest, the 20%, is still like an open question for them. So it's a very strong learning peer-to-peer between faculty and students. The curriculum is based on very short, intensive modules, meaning that any student will never find himself or herself working on different classes at the same time. It's just one class at a time. And as I said before, each module, even when we have to teach sensors and electronics or very basic things that don't really require a big design solution, we still ask them to start from a context, to pick an area or a challenge, a problem that they feel close to. In that way, they learn, because they're driven to find a solution and they want to learn the skill. There is no formal assessment, but creeds and collective discussions at the end of each class, and it's not non-academic in nature, based on learning by doing and prototyping. And effectively, the program is a platform for peer-to-peer learning. So this was maybe a bit too intense, but about the school in general, and the way we select these people, and the way we really love to work with them. And then what happens? And then, as I said, 50% of them actually they would like to try their own venture. And we have nice episodes of people hiding in the building, just sticking around and not really wanting to go back actually to their country. A lot of them would like to stay. And so we thought that it was almost an obligation to start a platform which we had in mind since the very beginning when we started. We should have an incubator. We should have a place for these people to really try to pick some of the ideas that they feel more close to and develop them. And if Silicon Valley has been known for Tech Start Incubator, there is a brand for nurturing technology that can create big potential both commercially but also for people. If there is a place in the world where we can think of an incubator which incubates value for people, where the thing that you really want to find out and work out is the customer satisfaction, the customer experience, and business and technology, of course, serve as medium to enable that, that's Scandinavia. So maybe even Copenhagen could be a great place. So we thought that will be our vision. We ran a pilot phase from March to July 2014, which showed great potential, we believe, and we're now looking for more partners, investors, and financing the next phase. We've been supported again by the Ministry of Business and also Intel in Portland, have been very close to this platform, and Accelerate here in Denmark and the city of Copenhagen. What we've done, we have selected 7 startups, and with the intention, we kept the selection quite open to a different variety of projects so that we could learn more. So we have 1 startup of one-man company, then we have some of 2, some of 3, some of 4, and some of them are dealing with software innovation, some of them are dealing with product innovation, another one with bridging between product and service, and so on. And then we have a bit of a special one, which is so each bubble there, it's a company, and the people inside are, of course, the people on the project. But then we have this big network of experts, about 50 people who have said yes, and not just yes, but they're absolutely enthusiastic to put themselves on a flight, come, be on Skype, and mentor these people. And this was also a big learning, because we realized that again, it goes back to the words that Johan has before. A lot of things are changing, and people who are fully busy, also in their jobs, in their careers and stuff, we have found no one saying, no, I don't like to be part of this. Everyone wants to donate hour. Everyone is finding the way to come, maybe in the evening, maybe on a weekend, but still they want to be close to these people. They feel inspired. And actually, some people are working on pharmaceutical products, and we've seen people from Novo Nordisk really coming and being very inspired by being silent. They don't want to say anything. They really want to see how these people can drive an innovation that is totally different than the one they see in the everyday in the organization of Novo. So 11 people, 7 startups, 50 experts, 5 months, and we've given them just enough to survive, monthly, so that they could focus on the project. And at the end of these 5 months, we would like to ask 3 companies to continue and take it to the next level, and possibly looking into more financing and more investment and so on. Just to name a few experts, there are people who are coming anyway, most of them to the school to teach, so for them it's just very easy and handy to go and meet the people in the nest, and they come from universities, MIT, but also for us an expert is also a nurse, of course, a doctor, a teacher, anyone who has an expertise in a specific context. What these startups really have is a big passion to solve a problem, so I totally confirm, like also your statement before, they really have this, they have identified something, normally they have identified that themselves, and they really are driven to find a solution. What we realize is that when you apply a design process, when you want to incubate ideas, or when you want to take them to the next level, and of course become commercial, but you adopt a totally integral design process in a way, it's so difficult at the beginning to see the potential, the first customer, the business plan, that shows a lot of money coming in. But what we are noticing is that the more you focus on a specific solution, sometimes just a very, very niche market, the more you find the very added value that could eventually be scaled up later on. So all ideas started as very niche, very few people with actually very meaningful ideas, but for very, very few. And now we are at the stage where we can see the scaling and the numbers coming up. They all want to make a difference by using their own skills and network, but they also want to keep free. That's quite interesting. And they know that now they're working on an idea on this company, but they also know one day they want to work on something else. If they think, when they have the confidence of generating a good idea, they feel like they're already thinking of the next and the next again. So they're also a bit afraid of feeling locked in one company, one idea. And they want to keep learning. So just a very quick presentation of who they are. This is Shamik, who is working on an application where basically when you take a picture, you also collect and record 5 seconds of sound. So imagine the beauty of browsing through pictures when you're also getting this kind of background and emotional feeling of being back in that moment. And he started as a one-man company, and as he said himself, in 2 months he increased 150% because now he has 2 more co-founders. And there are one in India and one, I think, in the US. And so a designer who is now joined by a more business person and a sound engineer. Book and Me is a service for museums where basically kids and parents or grown-ups could have a shared journey together. The kids take pictures, and by the end of the tour of the museum, they will get stickers to collect and to make a book together with parents and kids. Anthony, as a one-man company, very focused on software, he's looking at how to collect and share and create a catalog out of all the internet links we're exchanging through our emails. Interesting case, two people who were mentors who joined to create a new company. So Alessandro Sarfatti used to be the CEO of Luceplan, very established Italian light company. Nick Zambetti, also very interesting career at Apple. They met through the Nest as mentors, and they matched their dreams, their skills, and they now just founded a company here in Copenhagen thinking of the future of light. Griffin is a pen that is one of those cases where it started up as a very, very, very niche product where they had this passion. Shu has a sister in Taiwan who is a specialist for autistic kids. And she always heard these stories about how autistic kids have a difficulty to learn how to learn because they often put the wrong pressure on the pen when they write. And that requires extra labor, extra teachers, and so on. And so Shu, very inspired by that, she said, I want to design something to make the life of my sister better and to make the life of the kids better. So she thought of this pen that could light up when the pressure is right, so that the autistic child gets a feedback. They're normally more sensitive to light than sound or other feedback. And now, after a couple of months of iterations, this is a gadget that every child actually loves. And all parents say, oh, but also my child, of course, she doesn't really know exactly how to keep the pen and so on. So it's going from being a super niche shaped just for the autistic kids to be possibly something that all kids could have, or even grown-ups. And it goes from being just a pen, or being a full pen, to being a small grip with the light. So far it's the shape of a fish, I think, with the light on the eyes.
She found it very funny that it could turn on and off. The problem is she's so focused on writing nice that she doesn't look up. But the lighting down on the paper in different colors or in one color, or it gets more and more strong. The light, the better you are holding and the less. That might be a thing, and especially the touch has to be different. This area. Can we put one of her pencil into this?
Det er dig.
Er det mig?
Ja.
Det her, er den her, må lige på det? They both say, whoa, this is really fun, because it's a fish, but the problem is to put the electronic. Er det meget afslappende? Det er i hvert fald nemmere at holde på en almindelig pind. Det er godt, du holder øje med, om den lyser. Ej, hvor er du dygtig.
And what I think is really special about this project is that the teacher ended up being a partner in the company, which I think is fantastic. So this startup is now a designer, a technologist, and a specialist who decided to join the company as a way to also make a difference. And then the last one, but it goes back to the pillbox, I think, as an example, is Sarah and Ian, who are both diabetic and decided to start a design company to improve the life of diabetic people, starting from themselves. And to make a long story short, now they can be so disruptive in the market. By doing open source, by doing bottom-up, by sharing everything in Facebook, the community of diabetic people are building things that can be printed at home and skipping all the regulations that we're not saying is a good thing to do, but effectively they reach out to the patients much faster than a pharmaceutical company possibly could do. And I think I'll stop here. I'm a bit out of time, I think. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Simona. And this was really amazing.